There was a period that began a couple of years before my mother died when she believed a blonde woman entered her apartment at night and stole her ice cream, and sometimes stole other things, her hearing aids, her teeth, her keys, her glasses. There was no way to convince her it wasn't so. To keep her things safe, Mom hid them before she went to bed. But of course, she couldn't remember having hidden them. So the next day, when she discovered them missing, it was all the proof necessary that the blonde woman had been there again. I managed to find the hearing aids most of the time because when she took them out, Mom wouldn't remember to open them, which disengaged the batteries. So if I stuck my head into a cabinet or a drawer and listened hard, I could hear the batteries squealing. I found them in her sewing basket, under the toilet plunger in the bathroom, behind the bookcase, sometimes wrapped in Kleenex in the garbage. Once, I never found them at all. Mom was less disturbed by the lost hearing aids than she was by the lost ice cream. We had some terrible fights over this. I'm still ashamed at how I slammed my hand down on the table in frustration and yelled at her, "It doesn't make any sense, Ma. The door was locked. How could someone get in? And why would someone break into the apartment to take your ice cream?" Well, of course it didn't make any sense. My mother didn't know how someone could get in, but clearly someone had. It was also obvious that Ben & Jerry's was worth stealing, and the proof was that the ice cream was gone. She looked at me as if I was an idiot. One of Mom's caregivers had a friend who was a sheriff. He came to Mom's apartment, a big, meaty man with a big leather belt and pistol and a khaki uniform and shiny badge. And he sat down opposite Mom and listened as she and I told him about the blonde woman who came in almost every night and took things away. My mother wasn't frightened that someone was coming through the walls into her locked apartment. She was furious. The sheriff made some notes. He nodded and looked serious, and then he assured my mother that he would take care of it. He would put some deputies outside the building, and they would watch for the blonde woman, and they would arrest her. "I don't want you to worry about this anymore, Betty," he said, putting his big hand on her shoulder. "We'll get her, and she won't bother you again." Mom thanked the very nice sheriff, but her mind was beyond his lies and his assurances. That very night, the blonde woman came back and removed the curtains in Mom's kitchen. After my mother died, even though the apartment was tiny, around 400 square feet, it took me more than a month to empty it. My brother Hal came out a day or so after she died, and he stayed about a week. We worked on this sad job together, mostly silently, opening boxes, looking at the photos she had collected, all boxed up on high shelves in the closets. We pored over her poetry, birthday cards, old diaries, and our father's funny, lovely love letters. After Hal left, carrying Dad's love letters back to Boston with him, many of my friends offered to help me finish the job of sorting and emptying. But the apartment was so filthy, and my mother's possessions so tattered, bed sheets and towels that she had kept from the 1950s, torn and patched and threadbare, teacups held together with Elmer's glue, her reams of piano music so yellow and brittle they dissolved at a touch, that I was embarrassed to let anyone see them. At the time my mother died, and for 6 weeks afterward, I was on crutches with a broken foot. This slowed things down considerably. But I had knee pads so I could crawl around, and I used a walker with wheels as a kind of scooter, which every once in a while got away from me. I was lucky not to break my neck with it. Every day, my husband hauled away bags and boxes of things to the local thrift shop or Goodwill or to the dumpster in the basement. Mom would have been appalled at what we discarded. I don't know what she would have made of the unopened pint of Ben & Jerry's chocolate ice cream that I found toward the end of my work in her kitchen, wrapped in a towel, hidden in a pot in the bottom of a closet. Ben & Jerry might be interested to know that their ice cream turns into something very un-ice cream-like after nearly a year in a pot at the bottom of a closet. Sort of plastic, sort of rubber. I also found Mom's long-lost glasses, but never her vanished hearing aids.